What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I did a mock draft for the entire NFC North. Now, I'm going to be giving you guys what my mock draft looks like for the entire NFC North. As you guys know, I'm a Lions channel, so if you are a Vikings, Bears, or Packers fan, make sure you let me know in the comments below who you would have taken and why, because our picks are probably going to be a lot different just because of the simple fact that you guys are fans of those teams, and I'm not necessarily. So, I'm not at all, actually, and I don't like any of you. Just kidding. Well, kind of. Not really. I don't know exactly what to say here, y'all. This is awkward. Thank you for coming. So, you know what? I do like you. If you came here, I do like you. I can respect you, okay? So, let's get this thing started. So, we are going to be looking at how I did this mock draft. So, I used the mock draft machine on the Draft Network. So, if you guys have ever used it before, if not, definitely go check it out. It's super fun to play around with. But I did a mock draft for every NFC North team, and this is what we came out with. I tried to fill out some needs, also add some talent, and I think we got some interesting things here. Some weird ones, but we got some interesting stuff. So, there's really no way I can do this. Let's go by first round. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, so first round. So first round for the Lions, we obviously have the first pick, and I took Jeff Okudah. That's kind of more prediction than what I want. I feel like the Lions are going to take Okudah with Matt Patricia being the head coach and our defensive coordinator being a secondary coach. I feel like Jeffrey Okudah makes a lot of sense here, and I think that's what they're going to do. Necessarily, I would rather have guys like Isaiah Simmons on the trade back. I do like Derek Brown, but I really do think they'll take Jeff Okudah. And I would trade back for sure, but one, I can't really trade back on this, and two, I just have a feeling they're going to take Jeff Okudah. So let's scroll down. We have Trayvon Diggs. So this one was really good for Minnesota. I was kind of surprised he fell here, but Diggs did fall. And Minnesota's one of their biggest needs was cornerback, and I had to fill it out here. It could not pass. Okay, you see Jonathan Taylor going the first round. I'm telling you, he's a baller. Kenneth Murray was someone I was really looking at for Minnesota, though, to add to that. I know it's not a huge need, but come on, man. He's a beast. But I did decide to go with Trayvon Diggs here, cornerback being a big need, and he was definitely the best available. And then for the Packers, they needed a weapon. I was like, you know what? Let's just get it right now. And that's what we did. We got Jalen Reagor. And you see J.K. Dobbins also going in the first round. So very, very interesting. As we know, the Bears did have 2 second-round picks, 0 first-round picks. Now, for the Detroit Lions, I took Neville Gallimore, the defensive lineman out of Oklahoma. So I was really thinking, do I go edge? Do I go defensive line, like defensive tackle? And I went with Neville Gallimore. I don't know how the defensive tackle position is going to look. I don't think we can go wrong here. We don't know what the offseason looks like, but knowing what we know now, I kind of just had to pick one, and that's what I decided to do. Now, Curtis Weaver was there. That's why it made it really hard for me, because I could have easily taken Curtis Weaver, and you could easily take Curtis Weaver as well, and I would have no problem. Also, look at KJ Hamler. My man went 34. Awesome. Austin Jackson went nearly first round as well. Now we get on to the Bears picks. So the Bears had a few needs, as you guys can see in this corner, if you guys can see these. The Bears had need of offensive lineman, tight end, quarterback, offensive tackle, edge, safety, linebacker, cornerback, and defensive lineman. I decided to stack that offensive line right away. And Prince Tega Wanago, I'm pretty sure, out of Auburn here, he fell. And I was like, you know what? I really can't pass it. It is maybe not their biggest need, but it's a pretty solid need for them. So I was like, let's just get it. Let's help out the offensive line, knowing that they had a pick at number 50 as well. There I took Jalen Hurts. Now, I was trying to see if he would fall and if Jake Fromm would fall. Jake Fromm actually fell really, really far. So I had to make a decision between him and Jake Fromm. I decided to go with Hurts. I feel like Hurts is more realistic in that offense. I don't see Jake Fromm fitting necessarily as much as Mitchell Trubisky as I see Jalen Hurts and Mitchell Trubisky, but at the same time, they may be trying to go away from that. And I think Jake Fromm is more of an NFL-ready quarterback because he was in college for like 12 years. But I decided at the end of the day to go with Jalen Hurts. So maybe an interesting pick there. Let me know what you guys think, especially Bears fans. All right, scroll down a little bit. We get the Green Bay Packers. Trying not to skip one. We get the Green Bay Packers. Okay, hold up. Let's see. I knew I skipped one. We get to Minnesota, and I give them Cesar Ruiz. Now, he was like a center kind of at Michigan, but, you know, I feel like he can move around. He's a good offensive lineman, and offensive guard was one of their big needs as well. So I decided, yeah, you know what? Let's just get Ruiz. I'm pretty sure they drafted Garrett Bradbury last season as a center, so maybe Ruiz can move out of that position potentially. If you have injuries, he can play at center. I think it's an overall versatile pick in Cesar Ruiz, which, again, I think he's a day one starter. He's very much so a veteran at Michigan. Now, again, Cole Kmet here, I think that's how you say his name, for Green Bay. We know tight end was a huge need, all right? Jimmy Graham aging, stuff like that. I decided to get Cole here, okay? He's probably the best tight end in the draft, maybe the best tight end. You can make the case. Obviously, Hunter Bryant up here is another guy that you can make a case for. I decided to go with Cole here. You know, there's no T. Jackson, there's no Noah Fant in this draft. So, you know, I think Cole is maybe one of the best available. And he did fall. And knowing that Hunter Bryant was already gone, I didn't want to wait. I wanted to fill out that need. Next up in the third round with the Lions, I decided to go offensive line with Tyler Biadasz. Obviously, we know that the Wisconsin, they have a great offensive line. Every year they have some really good offensive linemen. So we got one this last offseason not as an undrafted free agent. I don't know if he's going to make the team or not next season, but we decided to go here with Tyler, who can play offensive line. I believe he can play center as well. Move him around a little bit. Guard position worries me a lot this offseason, and I really wanted to make sure I had at least one of the offensive line positions drafted kind of high. Either it's offensive tackle or offensive guard. I decided to go with the interior offensive lineman here in Tyler, and I knew him a little bit, so I was a little bit more confident with that pick. Now, as we scroll down a little bit, we get Trey Adams for Minnesota. Again, offensive line. They just took Ruiz. Now they get Trey Adams. Offensive tackle and offensive guard were big needs. So, boom. Y'all are really stacking those trenches. You're welcome. You're welcome, Minnesota fans. That's all I got to say. Scroll down a little bit more. We got Anthony Jennings. Now, you're probably thinking, Packers fans, why in the world would we take an edge rusher? We already have Preston Smith and Jadavius Smith, and we already have all these. Stop. You're taking him because he's there. Very simple, okay? Look, you're getting a beast here in Anthony Jennings, and just because you have good players there doesn't make it not a need, right? I mean, come on, man. You got a good quarterback, so what? He's old. You don't want to throw a young one behind him? I'm not saying our edge rushers are old, but look, Anthony Jennings is a heck of a player. I was so surprised he fell there. I'm trying to do y'all a favor, so be happy about it. You get Anthony Jennings at 94. Into the 4th round, we have the Lions again, and this time I took Josh Uche out of Michigan. I really like this edge rusher, and I haven't taken one yet. Okay, I went defensive tackle, I went cornerback, and offensive line. I was going really front 7. I was like, why not just keep it going? Josh Uche. You can't have enough edge rushers. That's what Bob Quinn tells me. So I was like, all right, Josh Uche's that guy then. There was some options, though, for sure, because I believe, I'm not sure how far he fell. Trayvon Hill, yes, he was the other man I was looking at here. So, yeah, I decided to go with my man. And Kareem. All right, next up, we got Tyler Johnson for Minnesota. They had a lot of picks. I went wide receiver here. You know, give Kirk Cousins another little weapon on the outside. You can't go wrong with another weapon. I'm not even showing their needs. You can't go wrong with a weapon. Maybe not their highest need, but he was there, and I think he was definitely the best available. Minnesota was a really good passing attack, had some really good wide receivers, some good quarterback play. I was like, yeah, let's take him out of there. Next up, Jordan Brooks out of Texas Tech. Green Bay did have a pretty solid need at linebacker, and yeah, that's where we went. Linebacker, we already had the edge in Anthony Jennings, so why not stack that front 7 for them as well? Look, Jennings may not be the biggest need. Linebacker was probably a bigger need, like more of a linebacker position than an edge. So I went with Jordan Brooks right after. So look, I got your needs. Calm down. Now let's get into round number 5 where I have Shaquille Quarterman going to the Lions. I did this a couple of times. I think this is just a good fit. You know, I'm waiting a little bit. I think he's probably the best available when you talk 5th round type of deal. Can play more inside linebacker. We already got the edge rusher in Josh Uche. We've already gotten a cornerback. We've gotten a defensive tackle. So now I had a linebacker. Front 7 is important, man. Trenches. We got the offensive line and front 7. That's all I'm worried about. That's what we did here. All right, hopping into down a little bit, we got Jake Hansen, who fell like perfectly to this pick for the Chicago Bears. Knowing they need an offensive line is maybe their biggest need. We may have waited a little bit too long, but hey, man, y'all don't have a first round pick, so what you want me to do? I got you a quarterback, and I got you, I don't remember who else I got you. I got you someone else. So you know what? Jake Hansen was available, so I took him. I couldn't wait. Oh, I got you the offensive tackle. So look, offensive line's good. You guys are also rebuilding the offensive line, so there you go. All right, next up for the Lions, I took Bryan Edwards here. Maybe not the biggest need. Definitely not the biggest need. I don't even know if he'll play this year, but we know we drafted Fulgham. It didn't really work out necessarily. We'll see if he's here next season. But he was there. Bryan Edwards is a heck of a wide receiver, and I was kind of shocked he was there. And I was like, yeah, let's take him. I think Anthony Gordon makes a lot of sense at quarterback. I was really debating, but I always take Anthony Gordon. I was like, let's just mix it up a little bit. Let's get a wide receiver. Let's take Bryan Edwards, make some people a little happy. It's a deep wide receiver class. I have no problem with looking at the future a little bit. Then we went John Simpson, okay, the offensive lineman out of Clemson, again for Green Bay. Trenches for y'all as well. I'm trying to help you guys out, help protect Aaron Rodgers so we can get into that new playmaker he is on the outside. And then let's hop into the 6th round as we near the ending, the finale of this. I got Kyle Duggar. Or Duger. I'm not exactly sure how you say his name, but we filled out tons of needs for the Detroit Lions this draft. A lot of front 7, a lot of trenches. I decided to move it a little bit to the secondary. We grabbed a corner. Let's grab out another young safety. We have Will Harris. It's not ever a bad thing to have a little bit of depth there at that safety position. We know injuries happened and it really hurt us, depleted us. I don't know what's going to happen with Tavon Wilson. I just grabbed the safety, made me feel a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, his school name, I can't even tell you what that says. Okay, let's move on. Next up for the Green Bay Packers, we took John Runyon, the offensive tackle. I feel like Runyon, even though he's going late, can come in and start right away. Runyon was a solid player at Michigan, and I know it's Michigan and it's college and it's not the NFL, but hey, he plays good competition. He's went against some beasts when you talk about the tackle position against some of those really good edge rushers. We know the Big Ten has puts out edge rushers. Runyon, I feel like, can go start. I mean, he's a late round steal in my eyes, and that's why I gave him to you, so you're welcome. Okay, next up for the Chicago Bears, I got Jonathan Garvin. They need an edge rusher, not their biggest, a little bit of a need here. So Jonathan Garvin out of Miami fell, decided to take him as well. Gosh, I'm not even trying to rhyme and I'm doing it. Niles Pickney out of the defensive lineman for Minnesota. Yeah, you know, Niles was here. Pretty big need for the Minnesota Vikings. I decided to go Niles here. Maybe I waited a little bit long, but hey, I think this is a good player as well. And that's exactly what I did. The same kind of thing for Green Bay. Maybe not as big as we need, but Naquan Jones, Michigan State, familiar. I've seen him a little bit play. So, you know, there we go. I gave him to Green Bay. So yeah, y'all got two good defensive tackles there. And then finally in the 7th round, to just finish everything off, you can see Hunter Harrison Bryant, another tight end going. I don't know why I pointed that out, but yeah, I did. All right, next up we got Brad Stewart. So I went to Minnesota again. I think Minnesota had a really good draft, if I'm being honest. So I decided to give them a safety. Again, I'm waiting a little bit here. I don't know if it's a huge need for him, but I decided to go safety here with Brad Stewart out of Florida, just kind of filling out some needs at this point. Levert Hill for Green Bay, which I think is a heck of a pick in the 7th round. I think you're getting a guy that can legitimately, I don't know why, that word has been stuck in my head all day, that legitimately could be a starter out of the 7th round. No joke. I think you're getting a heck of a player here at the cornerback position. I don't think you're missing out at all drafting him here. I think this dude could go way higher, and I think he will go way higher than the 7th round. But he fell. I could not pass up on him. And then Sean McEwen. No, I'm not taking him just because they're from Michigan, but you needed a tight end. And McEwen, from what I could tell when I've seen, I wanted to make sure I had some. I like drafting players that I've seen at least a little bit, okay? So a lot of these guys I've at least watched play and stuff. McEwen, he's been a solid possession type of tight end for Michigan. So there you go, Chicago. And then really as we come to the end here, we got Tuff Borland out of Ohio State. Give a linebacker to the Chicago Bears. Khaleke Hudson out of Michigan. I'm sorry, I don't know why there were so many Michigan players. And then for the Packers, A.J. Dillon, who I was actually interested in drafting for the Lions. He fell pretty far. I'm predicting him somewhere around the 6th round. He went 7th, so I gave him to you guys. Just, a little bit of depth there. And that's it. Those are all our picks for this draft. I think everybody had a pretty solid draft. I filled out everybody's needs. I gave the Bears something interesting to work with there in Jalen Hurts. I think I gave the Packers some really interesting stuff for sure. I gave you Anthony Jennings, so I think it was a steal. Be happy about that. And then for the Vikings, I filled out pretty much every need you could ask for. And then obviously for our Lions, the trenches, the front 7, and the offensive line, we're looking A-okay. Now I didn't get a quarterback. I feel like we'll get one of those in the undrafted free agency, at least at this point. Decided to mix it up with the wide receiver, just for fun. So I think we're looking pretty good there. So let me hear your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.